What four things does the Bhagavad Gita encourage? Number one, it changes the way we think. Having positive thoughts help us to follow our goals. It enables us to identify opportunity and it develops the ability to face and fight challenges. Next point is have a balanced perspective, free from any likes or dislikes or any prejudices. Number three, it enables to overcome the negative thoughts or rumination. What is rumination? The same negative thought keep on occurring in your mind again and again. And it prepares us well to meet the challenges, the difficulties. Number four, channelize all your energy to acquire your goals, to reach your goals. Now let us consider the questions which are asked about chapter 4. Question 1. What is the importance of chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita? Krishna explained in this chapter the process of transcendental knowledge to the question by Arjun as to why humans, in spite of not wanting to commit sin, still they are pushed forward to commit the sin. Krishna says that lust, which is a very strong emotion among humans, is the main reason for that. What is the name of the chapter 4 in Bhagavad Gita? It is Gyan Karam Sannyas Yoga. Another question. Which is the first shlok of chapter 4? Lord Krishna said that he had imparted this transcendental knowledge which is imperishable to the sun god Vivasan. Vivasan instructed Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed Ikshvaku. Division of the chapter shlok wise. From shlok 1 to 15, tradition of Karam Yoga and multiple avatars of God the Almighty. Shlok 16 to 32, the essence of action and accordingly description of various yajnas and good deeds. Shlok 33 to 42, goodness of Jnana Yoga and Karam Yoga and inspiration for adopting and living Karam Yoga. Now I'll read English translation from Shlok 1. Lord Krishna said, I had imparted knowledge about this traditional yoga to the Sun Lord Surya. He had communicated the same to his son Vivasan Manu, who in turn informed his son Ikshvaku. Paratampa Arjun, in this manner descending from the old traditions, this yoga became known to kings and the pandits. But after that, for a long time this yoga had gone into oblivion and vanished from this earth. You are my disciple, my devotee, and my dear friend. Therefore today I have explained the same yoga to you. The yoga is deep wisdom and subject of rarity. Arjun said, my lord, you have just been born now, but Surya's birth dates to ages ago, when the cosmos had just begun. In that case, how should I accept that you had explained this yoga to Surya? Shri Lord said, Paratampa Arjun, you and I had many births earlier. You do not know about these, but I do know. Even though I am beyond the cycle of birth and death, and even though I am the creator of all beings, I take form and appear in the world from time to time. Bharat, whenever religion suffers a setback and sins excel, I assume the form of a living being and come before mankind. I appear from time to time for the help and progress of the virtuous and deserving people, and for the destruction of the wicked and the sinners, and to safeguard the religion. Arjun, my birth and my deeds are divine, pure, and transcendental. The person who realizes the truth and understands it does not take birth after death. Instead, he assumes my form and becomes a part of me. In the past, many such persons whose desires and envies had been killed, and who were always devout towards me and had full faith in me, were purified with wisdom and attained my form. Arjun, whichever way my devotees worship me, I reciprocate accordingly, because as I said earlier, all people follow the path laid down by me. In this world, people who are keen to secure the results of their deeds worship the lesser gods, because in this worship they are able to ensure the achievements of their objectives easily. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. These four classes have been created according to gunas, attributes, and the duties. I had no desire, no longing for the result of my duty. Therefore, my duty does not cause any involvement. The person who gets to know me in this manner also remains unattached with his actions. In other words, his actions too do not get him involved. In the olden times, forefathers had understood this reality and carried on with their objective. Therefore, following their example, you should also carry on with your duty. What classifies an action and what is inaction? Even the enlightened and people of wisdom, they are confused while determining the answer to this question. Therefore, I'll explain to you the basic nature of action, after understanding which you will be freed from attachment of action and impurity of mind. It is necessary to understand the features of action as well as those of inaction, because often the result of the action has far reaching effects. The person who can observe inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among people, and he who performs all his duties well is in fact a yogi. One who follows his duty according to the Shastras and whose actions are not motivated by desire or a cause in view, and whose actions are purified by fire of wisdom, is called a Pandit, even by the great sages. The person who has no attachment to the deeds and to the results thereof is free from the worldly matters and is fully satisfied with his involvement in God. He may get involved in any kind of action, but his actions remain free from attachment. The person who has conquered his self, his senses, and his body, and who has given up all objects of worldly pleasures, such a person, without his dependence on hopes of any kind, can carry out his normal duties and perform his work with the help of his body, and yet he remains free from sins of any kind. He accepts whatever is received with satisfaction, because he does not desire nor goes after worldly desires. The person who has freed himself of envy, jealousy, and who transcends the effects of pleasure and pain remains calm and composed. In success or in failure, such a person remains free from attachment even when involved in any kind of work. The person who has killed all kinds of attachment and is free from affliction of affection, he who has conquered his personal ego, whose mind is always engaged in the wisdom of God, for such a person whose actions are directed only towards betterment of humanity, all his actions get merged in his efforts for the general good. In the yajna, devotional service for a good cause, where offerings become a form of godliness, where the materials used for divine offerings to fire achieve similar status, for such a saint, the results of his action too carry the greatness of God. Some yogic practitioners perform yajna in the form of their worship to gods. Some others find it in the fire, no less than the form of Almighty Himself, and carry out their havan, realizing their own self, and find the incomparable Almighty in the process. Others perform havan in the form of controlling all their senses and sensory objects. The process of control itself becomes a sacred fire. Others practice control in the words that they speak. Again, this process is a kind of havan. There are others who are able to control all actions of their senses and are enlightened by the sacred wisdom. They perform havan through all the actions of mind and self-control. Many people carry out yajna with material objects. There are others who perform yajna in the form of deep meditation. There are still others who perform yajna by virtue of carrying out their own duties in a selfless manner, and still some others who follow the principle of ahimsa, and are others who keep fasts and perform yajna in the form of self-study. There are many others who perform yajna through pranayams, the process of restraining breath, interacting with apan vayu, and there are others who reverse the process. Some others continuously control intake of food and are able to hold the movement of pran through pranayam. All these sadhaks perform their yajna, kill their own sins, and are known for the knowledge about yajnas. Kurukshetra Arjun, those who experience the nectar of remains of yajna, realize and merge with the omnipresent, immortal Almighty. And the people who do not engage themselves in any form of yajna cannot be happy even in this world. So, how these can achieve peace and happiness after death? This and many other types of yajnas are described in detail in our Vedas. You must consider these yajnas worthy of performance through mind, senses and body. Once you understand the core subject of yajna and practice these to the best of your ability, you will achieve freedom from the ill effects of your actions, or will rise above the petty pleasures of your actions. Arjun, as compared to the yajna performed with material objects, the one which is carried out with wisdom is far superior. Besides, all kinds of duties end with the achievement of wisdom. You should learn this wisdom from those who have acquired it through their continuous efforts. You must humbly greet them and serve them with devotion. Ask them politely the questions that arise in your mind without any disrespect. Those knowledgeable sages who have realized the Almighty will give you suitable advice. Once you understand their advice, you will no longer get into the fits of attachment and emotions, and will first see yourself in proper perspective and then realize me, the Almighty. Even if you are a sinner of sinners, you, with the help of the boat incarnated by wisdom, will cross over the sea of sins. All your sins will die out. Because Arjun, just as the raging fire burns the entire fuel, the fire of wisdom burns away all ill actions and the effects thereof. Automatically, he who continues practice of Karam Yoga for a long time and he carries on performing his duties with expectation, not of any kind, but with expectation of the benevolence of Lord Almighty. No personal desire or attachment. The one who conquers his own self and has a quest for knowledge and is a devoted human being achieves wisdom. Thereafter, he achieves peace in the shape of realization of God sooner or later. And the person who is full of suspicion, lacks devotion and discretion, destroys himself without a doubt. There is no place for such a person in this world or the next. Besides, he can never be happy. Dhananjay, the person who has dedicated all actions to the Almighty through the procedure of yajna, action in devotional service, and destroyed all his suspicions, none of his actions can ever cause ill effects to his self-controlled soul. Therefore, Arjun, you must kill all suspicion of your mind, and that is born out of ignorance, with the sword of wisdom. Get settled with the performance of your duty and get ready for the battle.